at Cadwell Park in the heart of Lincolnshire, a track where talent outweighs power. It's the penultimate round. This is ThundersportGB.
Welcome back to Cadwell Park for ThundersportGB's next race on the grid, the Doodson Motorsport Supertwins, Mini-Twins and F400s, a championship that's still yet to be decided. And on the grid there you'll see a few familiar faces, the bright green and yellow number 88 Josh Daly, the Formula 400 champion, but looking to wrap up the Doodson Motorsport 650 Open Championship altogether, and well, he needs to try and fend off the advances of Callan Cooper, number 7 on the Aprilia 450. A number of these 450s have been up in the top 5 for the majority of the season, and it's a good start from 4 or 5 of them that got up there. Of course, I'll keep you up to date with how the Mini-Twins are getting on, and I can tell you that that championship has also been decided, so congratulations goes to Curtis Rothwell, who has been crowned the Mini-Twins champion before wheels turned here, as they all filter around Chris Curve and down into the gooseneck though. Oh, we've got one rider that's going for a bit of grass trekking. Can't quite see a number on that one, but it's Callan Cooper that leads from what looks to be Tom Oliver as they dip down into Mansfield Corner. Josh Daly on the Kawasaki looking to get as many points as possible. It is Cooper from Oliver. Number 11 in third place, David Allingham. Then 54, Sam Cox, and there is Josh Daly on the 400. Bit of smoke coming from the exhaust there. Hopefully nothing too much to worry about. Alistair Fagan looks as though he's got a good start as well. Yes, there he is up ahead of number 94, Jamie Thackeray. So quite a few riders getting off to a decent start here at Cadwell in this race. Out of barn corner they come. Callan Cooper, it is that leads. Tom Oliver second and Allingham third. Allingham, a rider that has been out for a number of races. He did come back at the last couple of events from injury that was sustained at Snetterton. So it'd be good to see him back to his best form. And there he goes up the inside of last year's Aprilia Superteen runner-up, Tom Oliver. Tom there in third place, just using up all the curb. That's not really the fastest way around Park Corner. Josh Daly still up in the top 5, but not able to catch up with Callan Cooper. And Callan Cooper is very much the man that he needs to look out for in this championship. He's going into this race. He is 44 points behind Josh Daly. So by no means done yet, this series. Second place there, though. David Allingham, the quickest man on the circuit. There's Will Hodgson. He's doing well. You may remember a couple of years ago, Will Hodgson had an enormous crash just at the top of the mountain here. And he's been in the Aprilia 450 Championship as well as this one. The Aprilia 450s are featured on GP Racing Dream, The Next Step. You'll be able to see that on Motors TV in a couple of weeks' time. And they're usually pretty awesome races, so well worth tuning into. They'll go round. The Mini-Twins leader at the moment, no less, Curtis Rothwell, up in the top 10. And if he can win this Mini-Twins race, it will be his 20th Mini-Twins race of the year. As it is, Cooper goes across the line as the race leader, but being followed by the quicker man, David Allingham. A 1:37.8 that time. That's not far off lap record pace. There is number 75, Ozzy Mady. And he has been confirmed second in the Formula 400 Championship, sponsored by LMB. So Daly confirmed the champion of that. Well done to him. And Mady, definite second. And it's just a matter of tying up third place. I think that's between Ian Evans and Stephen Jones now. So the 650 Open Championship is the one we need to keep our eyes on, between Josh Daly, number 88, Callan Cooper, number 7. Mathematically speaking, going into this race, Tom Oliver still just about has a chance, but if he cannot get himself up onto those top 2 steps, it's not looking likely as Josh Daly moves ahead of him. So it's Callan Cooper that leads from David Allingham. Josh Daly has got himself into a decent position now, up into 3rd, and maybe he'll be able to start closing down the gap on the 2 riders out ahead of him. Callan Cooper, a rider that has just secured the Aprilia 450 Championship. So he is looking to do 2 in 1 year. A rider that lives in Ramsey, the Isle of Man, and spends a lot of time getting mentored by Neil Hodgson, no less. So not a bad bloke to have around, actually. Could be better. It's only Neil, isn't it? There's Will Hodgson, number 14, ahead of Sam Cox, and they're having a decent battle. Alistair Fagan up in there, number 44 now. We've got a couple of riders down there. That's Ozzy Mady, number 75, and number 33, James Robinson, have gone out of the race. So Robinson and Ozzy Mady out of the race. Robinson guaranteed 2nd in the Mini Twin Championship. And there is Sam Cox and Will Hodgson having a bit of a battle. Oh dear, they're on the grass at the mountain. That's not a good place. And Sam Cox has gone down as a result. Very slippery on the grass around here. We've had a bit of rain over the weekend. Sam Cox has gone down. Now Sam and Will are good friends off circuit. They might not be for much longer. What was going on there? Bit of argy-bargy through the left and right at the bottom of the mountain. Luckily Sam is up and okay. Will continues. Well, we'll see what they've got to say about that after the race. There's number 22. That's Alex Baker, enjoying a decent season on the 450. And now there's a change for the lead. David Allingham, the Ulsterman, going up the inside into Park Corner, but he can't hold it. He runs wide on the exit, and Callan Cooper from the Isle of Man runs through, and that has just given a sniff of hope to Josh Daly in 3rd. Further back, that is Luke Thackeray, younger brother of Jamie, currently up inside the top 10. Chasing down Curtis Rothwell on the Mini Twin, but now we've got a fight on in the top 3. Allingham is your race leader. The fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.7. 2nd place for Callan Cooper. And Josh Daly really pushing the Kawasaki 400 now, trying to get his hands on 2 titles for 2012. All 3 of these riders former Aprilia Super Teams. There's Alistair Fagan, number 44, enjoying one of his best races of the season so far. Great move there. Fighting away with a couple of the 450 riders. Back to the front we go, though. It's David Allingham that leads this one, ahead of Callan Cooper. And look at them, they're side by side as they go up into Coppice Corner. Are either of them aware of Josh Daly's presence? There's a rider with his arm up in the air there. Is that Lewis Osler, number 82, with a problem as Alex Baker goes through? So Lewis Osler might be having a few issues out on circuit. If he can just try and nurse the bike around to the finish, then he might pick up a point or 2. But it's Allingham from Cooper and Josh Daly, and it really is going to go down to the wire, this one, as they go around to lap a couple of the slower riders. Down the hill into Mansfield Corner, and Callan Cooper thought about the move up the inside. Oh my word, what a move from Josh Daly around the outside at Mansfield. They're knee to knee as they go into the chicane, and that's not going to work out well for either rider. Josh Daly goes down, Callan Cooper continues, and that bike's on fire. That bike is on fire. That was an interesting move there. Neither rider really giving up, and it's pretty tight into that chicane, and unfortunately for Josh, he's come out worst off, and that bike is on fire. The marshals doing their best to try and put that out. So that means David Allingham will probably have a bit of an advantage over Callan Cooper. I wonder what his lead looks like. Well, it's not actually as large as I thought it would be. Callan Cooper's got away with that one, big styly, as we enter the closing stages of this race. Tom Oliver still having a fight with Marty Lennon for 3rd and 4th. Marty Lennon on that red Kawasaki 650. So Marty trying to get himself up there on the podium. Will Hodgson in 5th, Thackeray 6th, Alistair Fagan in 7th. You just see a quick shot of Ollie Brocklesby going through. He's about to be lapped, or is he, by David Allingham, the race leader, and Callan Cooper, 2 of Thundersport's finest young stars in the making. They're going through Hall Bends, and Ollie Brocklesby with only probably a Super Teen experience. This is a new bike for him. He's about to be approached by the two race leaders as they try and find a way past, and they do. They come down the hill, and it's Allingham that has the advantage. The checkered flag is out there side by side. It is going to be David Allingham. The Northern Irishman gets back to his winning ways. That's his 4th win outright in this class of the season. A good win for him. 2nd to Callan Cooper. Tom Oliver, 3rd, ahead of Marty Lennon, Will Hodgson, Jamie Thackeray. Alistair Fagan does take 7th, and Curtis Rothwell does take his 20th win of the season in the Mini Twins. The champion having a great season. Confirmation there of the result. Allingham winning it, a 10th second ahead of Cooper. Poor old Josh Daly. Championship is going all wrong. There's the 3 guys on the top step. Allingham, Cooper and Oliver. We move on to the Mini Twins, and that's Curtis Rothwell, Lewis Osler and Adam Palfreman. And then Ian Evans. A lonely figure, but the winner of the 400s. Super Twin 650 Open standings. That is close. A point in it now between Cooper and Daly as we go into the final round at Mallory.
Ian Evans, winner of the Formula 400 at Cadwell Park. Can you tell us about the race?
Basically, it looked like carnage out there. There were a lot of people crashing. Josh, who normally smashes it, he unfortunately fell off at the chicane, and Ozzy also crashed, leaving me a fairly easy victory today, thanks.
Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, firstly, the British Army Motorsport Association and Colonel Mike Tizard for organising us part of the Tri-Service Championship with Thundersport. Stadium Garage of Doncaster, Hampshire Motorcycles, K-Tech, and basically all the crowd at Thundersport who do a very good job for us.
A well-deserved win, well done. And winner of the Digital Mini Twins, Curtis Rothwell. How did you find the race today?
It wasn't bad actually. I was expecting James and James and Lewis Black to come past me, but unfortunately they both had to come together, and I believe they both come down. It's unfortunate for them too, but it's good for me for points, I suppose. I had a good race, a bit boring. I was on my own for most of the race, but it's well done and got a lot of iron pump, and I just survived really to finish the race off. But good day, I'm happy with today. One more race to go, hopefully we can bring it home. Come on, please.
A good result. Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
A big thanks to Anna from Gore Spikes, Mum and Dad for all their help. But this weekend there's one person especially I'd like to thank, and that's Mick Pelton. Sadly he's not with us anymore, but big thanks to him. Thanks for all your help, Mick. I'll miss you, buddy.
Well done, thank you. And there's no stopping him. Winner of the Super Twins, David Allingham. A win in the 450 race and now a win in the Super Twins. How do you feel?
Feeling good at the minute. Maybe got a bit of confidence from the 450 race, and I can maybe run up with Cal, but I'm not sure if Cal was maybe on his pace after his crash in the last one. I don't think he's maybe quite up to speed as he would have been. But yeah, I'm happy that race just got the front controlled it kind of. I knew they wouldn't come past me in the brakes, so now I'm happy enough for that.
A really good race. Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my dad, my brother Edward, Stephen McShane, Gail obviously for coming, Maya Newton down in the wall, just keeping me right in the footboard, Ian and Jimmy, everybody, Silkeline and Bridgestone as well, so thank you very much.
Well done, thank you Dave.
Well, great racing here at Thundersport GB. Come back after the break. It's a classic, the OLR Motorsport 600 Sportsman Elite.
Moped, sports bikes, you save watts. Any bike, it makes no odds. We will give you what you need. Best price always guaranteed. Come to us and get a quote. You'll be singing note for note. Walk away with cash to spend on anything you want, my friend. Bike Insurer. Bike Insurer. Bike Insurer.
Get the cheapest bike insurance, guaranteed, only from the Bike Insurer.
Welcome to Cadwell Park for the Doodson Motorsport Supertwins, Mini Twins and Formula 400s here, the penultimate round of the championship, and things are getting a bit spicy in the Doodson Motorsport 650 Open standings, with Josh Daly having gone out of race 1, and his bike looking in a bit of a state. He's not gone out on the grid, so number 7 on the left, Callan Cooper, stands a good chance. If he wins this race, he'll go into the final round, I believe, as the leader of the championship by a single point here on the Thundersport iPlayer. Into turn 1 they go, Coppice corner, and it looks like Callan Cooper, the JDF racing rider, has got off to the best start on the Aprilia 450 with, is that another 450 just behind him? It looks like Tom Oliver possibly. They go down the dip on the Park Straight and up towards Park Corner. It is Tom Oliver, but he's about to get overtaken by David Allingham, the Northern Irish rider. Up to second goes Allingham, and that looks like Luke Thackeray, number 95, moving ahead of Oliver. So Oliver goes from second to fourth in the space of 2 corners, Park and Chris Curve. Into the gooseneck they come. Oh, a massive, massive crash there into the gooseneck. We've seen a number of those so far this weekend. That's Tom Oliver, and he's hurt. I'm not surprised. Now he's getting up and walking away. That is a nasty crash. You've got to be so careful through the gooseneck. It leaves Cooper as the leader, Allingham second, Luke Thackeray third, Cox in fourth, Will Hodgson fifth, and that's Marty Lennon that's got himself up into the top 5 also. Marty is on a Kawasaki 650. Through Hall Bends, Cooper. If he wins this, it'll go down to the final round between him and Josh Daly for the championship. Tom Oliver was actually in hot pursuit himself, but that crash there will put an end to his title hopes. He can still finish in the top 3 overall. We should congratulate Josh Daly, of course. He is the Formula 400 champion, but not racing because his bike is in bits. He's actually crashed both bikes this weekend. There's Curtis Rockwell, number 10. Curtis has been crowned the Mini Twins champion, and his brother is homing in on a championship in the Street Fighter class also, so a good year to be a Rothwell racer. Callan Cooper, though, here he is, the rider from Ramsey in the Isle of Man, has been having a solid season. David Allingham in second, just behind. There's Will Hodgson, who's been ThundersportGB rider on a 450 since day one, since Thundersport began in 2008, winning the 450 title that year. But out of the gooseneck and down into Mansfield we come. Callan Cooper not quite able to shake off the advances of David Allingham there. Allingham is from Northern Ireland, Ulsterman. He's good to have around. He's a great character from Eglinton, sponsored by E.H. Allingham Plant. You see there Luke Thackeray going through, younger brother of Jamie. There is Jamie, 94, and there's Curtis Rothwell, the leading Mini Twin rider. Or is he? I think James Robinson is doing pretty well in this race also. James has been guaranteed as the runner-up of that championship for this year. James Robinson adding a runners-up trophy to the GP3 championship he won last year. Across the line to tick off another lap. Cooper it is that leads from Allingham. Luke Thackeray in third, Sam Cox in fourth. So a pretty 450s covering the top 4. Then it's Marty Lennon and Ross Twyman stroke Will Hodgson going into Coppice corner side by side. Further back, the only 400 that's now out there, I think, we've got a couple actually, Ian Evans and Ozzy Mady. Ozzy Mady leading the 400 race, having a good scrap with Jordan Hole, Russell Brown and Lee Wainwright. Down into Mansfield they go, no change in the lead. Luke Thackeray doing well to consolidate third place, Cox in fourth. Marty Lennon there, another Northern Irish rider who's attended many Thundersport rounds since 2008 on all sorts of machinery. Always somewhere near the sharp end. Another great lad off the bike, and Ross Twyman just behind him. Very much a confidence rider if things are going well. Oh, there's a faller up there at the mountain. Now, who was that? That could have been one of the leading 2 or 3, and that's Luke Thackeray, and he is disgusted with himself as Nick Coe, the marshal, goes to deal with that. And there is older brother Jamie Thackeray maybe having a look at moving up a place, but Luke Thackeray, well, it was looking like being a solid third for him, and unfortunately it's gone to pot. He is out of the race. That means that Cooper remains your race leader from Allingham. In third then now, Sam Cox, with Marty Lennon in fourth, Twyman, number 15 there, fifth, head of 14, Will Hodgson. And then Jamie Thackeray, and there's a good battle further behind between Curtis Rothwell and James Robinson for the Mini Twins. And then it's Liam Shelcott. Nice to see Liam back out with us, rider from all the way from Oban in Scotland. Jamie Thackeray went for the block pass on Will Hodgson into Park Corner, but luckily managed to get the bike stopped before he collected Will. Will's already had a crash into Park Corner along with Tom Oliver this weekend, so not so good there. Left-hander, you have to ask yourself whether Tom Oliver is too happy with himself. It's not been the greatest of weekends here at Cadwell Park for him so far, and he'll try and come back fighting at Mallory, the Pretty Super Team runner-up. There's number 96, Ian Evans, on the 400, just coming round to be lapped, and Will Hodgson leads the second gaggle of bikes ahead there of Marty Lennon on the Kawasaki 650. Interesting to see that Marty's Kawasaki is equally matched in pace and speed with the 450s. You'd think that Marty would have a slight advantage on the start-finish straight, but there we are. Will Hodgson then in 6th place ahead of Jamie Thackeray in 7th, and then it's that fascinating battle between the two mini-twins just behind, between James Robinson and Curtis Rothwell. We zoom in on Barn Corner, and there is Will with number 15, Ross Twyman, having now got up ahead of Marty Lennon, and Sam Cox has fallen back a number of places, so Sam Cox must have had a major moment somewhere out on circuit. He's dropped from 3rd to 5th. So Ross Twyman now up into the top 3. That would do his confidence some good. Callan Cooper has just about been crowned the Aprilia 450 champion, so soon to put the number 1 plate on his 450, and David Allingham there gaining confidence after an injury from Snetterton. Was tight through there. 3 abreast through Park Corner for Ross Twyman, Will Hodgson and Marty Lennon, and Sam Cox is now trying to regroup, but he's got company in the form of Jamie Thackeray. Back to the front we go, down the hill into Mansfield. That was Callan Cooper. There is 2nd place man Allingham, but we await this great battle for 3rd. Look at the lead that both Callan and David have, and then there's 5 bikes now going for 3rd. Ross Twyman has it so far, ahead of Marty Lennon on the red Kawasaki. Then it's Will Hodgson, Sam Cox and Jamie Thackeray, and the two mini-twins in the background are closing in on this lot. James Robinson having a look over his shoulder to see the champion of 2012, Curtis Rothwell. The pair of them could well get themselves involved in this fascinating scrap as they go through Hall Bends, and Will Hodgson there still ahead of Marty Lennon. There is Sam Cox, former Aprilia Super Team rider and stroke 500 Thundersport rider. Still, Cooper leads this one from David Allingham out front, but this is the fight for 3rd. Twyman. Now Marty Lennon uses the power of that Kawasaki to move ahead of Will Hodgson, who's got the inside line for Charlie's. But this is the smooth, elegant riding style. The fastest man on a 450 in 2012, Callan Cooper. So cool and calm on the bike. Ross Twyman it is that goes into Park Corner. Will Hodgson trying to go around the outside at Park Corner. There's not really enough room to do that. There's certainly enough room to squeeze out an opponent into the gooseneck, but once more we come to the front to see Callan Cooper running away with it. Currently lapping, the only rider lapping in the 136s. That's only 2 or 3 seconds off the fastest Super Stock 600 riders. That's really impressive, and just goes to show how wonderfully balanced these Aprilia 450s are. David Allingham there in 2nd place. Now involved in a lonely race, I suppose, and further back that fight for 3rd continues. Still Ross Twyman has it ahead of Marty Lennon, with Will Hodgson just tucked in behind. Marty will be enjoying himself here. It's good to have a race like this. You won't even know how many laps have gone by when you're embroiled in fights like this. On the other hand, Callan Cooper will just be willing the checkered flag to come out. Last lap flag, as it is, has appeared on the start-finish line. So Callan Cooper is just around about 1.5 minutes away from giving himself a win, and more importantly, the 650 Doodson Motorsport Championship lead going into the final round at Mallory Park in 2 weeks' time. There, James Robinson still just leads Curtis Rothwell for the mini-twins. But what a year it's been for Callan Cooper. Back to wrap up the 450 Championship on the JDF 450 Aprilia, and on his way here, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 24 points the difference between Josh Daly and Callan Cooper, so 25 here would leave him a point ahead of Josh. going into the final round, and that's providing Josh can get that bike mended, ready for Mallory. Still, this fight for third continues, and Sam Cox and Jamie Thackeray tripping over each other. There is number 43, Julian Enticknap, just getting out of the way for the race leader, Callan Cooper. So smooth, his riding style. Doesn't look like he's putting any effort into it at all, does he? But he is lapping seriously quick as he flies through Hall Bends. It's been a pretty easy race, this, for Callan Cooper, and he is going to lead the championship at just the right point. Looks like Ross Twyman has got third wrapped up, with Marty Lennon fourth and Will Hodgson fifth, but anything can happen between there and Barn Corner. But out of the final corner comes Callan Cooper. He has a look over the shoulder, he crosses the line. His dad's giving him a round of applause on pit wall. A fine win for Callan Cooper. He takes glory, and in second place it is going to be David Allingham, and Ross Twyman takes third. It's close for fourth. It goes to Marty Lennon ahead of Will Hodgson. Great racing here from Cadwell Park then, and David Allingham pulls up alongside Callan Cooper as they evaluate how they've gone in that race. First and second, they were a class above the rest here at Cadwell. Marty Lennon having a good race in amongst the Aprilias with his Kawasaki 650 here in the Doodson Motorsport Supertwins and Mini Twins. So the results then for the Supertwins 650 Open. Callan Cooper takes it ahead of David Allingham with Ross Twyman in third. Marty Lennon fourth, Will Hodgson ahead of Sam Cox. And Callan in the middle with David to the left and Ross Twyman on the right. In the Mini Twins, it's James Robinson ahead of Curtis Rothwell and Lewis Black, Banana Man. And then it's Ozzy Mady, the winner, ahead of Ian Evans.
Winner of the Formula 400s, Ozzy Mady. You broke your back at Anglesey and you've come back for a win at Cadwell. That must be brilliant for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good fun out there. We basically came this weekend just to try and build a bit of confidence back in myself, back in the bike, sort of get used to riding again, get bike fit. And we didn't really come looking for results, but it's lucky, really.
That's what's happened. Have you got any sponsors to thank?
Yeah, first of all, my parents, who've always supported me. The Isle of Man Steam Packet Company, Whiz Racing Knee Sliders, You Save Motorcycle Tyres, and yeah, everyone else who's contributed to us racing all year.
Excellent win, thank you. And winner of the Digital Mini Twins, James Robinson. Tell us about the race.
It was a hard race. I mean, it's not normally what I do, but managed to get right up front, get past him and hold it. It's hard because I didn't do test day, so I'm back at grid yesterday. So I'm working up, learning track and bike. It's proper difficult.
And how's Cadwell for you?
It's a good track. I'm having a few scary moments over mountain. You know, my bike does get really settled, but it's a good track. I mean, it's fun to ride and great to race.
Any sponsors to thank?
Well, just my mum and dad, Rocket Centre for helping out, and everyone who supported us in all the ways.
Excellent, thank you. And is there any stopping him? Callan Cooper, winner of the Supertwins. That was a brilliant race for you. Led it all the way?
Yeah, from start to finish really. I saw my pit board a few times. Dee was catching me up, so I decided to go faster and got some real fast laps in and broke them, and then just led the race from there really. Went all well.
David Allingham was catching you quite a lot. Do you think he might just get it in the second race?
Well, I pulled away from him in the end, so I don't know.
Well, you would hope not. Any sponsors to thank?
Yeah, Mum, Dad, DC, John Davies, Dave, and everyone else that's helped out. Cheers.
Brilliant, thanks Cal.